Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, o see them yopo.
Ruling na ode eba yes say near yatie ne say enya wan send a few coming days, you know. Special prosecutor so be file appeal with Supreme Court on that ruling na Accra High Court de eba you know. Nyina ene say and High Court to say special prosecutor office no emra any 2 mina wodi ye adwuma no I had to say attorney general duplication bisa na say ya the cro for the meantime I on settle case no it was Supreme Court no attorney general and taking over all the cases as special prosecutor dealing with it until that will include the PPA adiana course contract for sale adiana no investigating no NPA Mustafa Hamid ne Crawford na or moje almost 300 million Ghana cedis ho abasem and you can say almighty can for to siki asalam I think and more bit cases are account ho and nyina was attorney general take over Ivan.
Yeah, I think Ghana for we say a landmark case, so we say a whole lot of discussions across on TV regarding this whole OSP, the federal saying the Attorney General Bruhaha Akoso. And answer the way you see I think a lot of people I can that I'm catch us back at University of Ghana those days and your radio universe. I made it quite clear when the office was set up. Say it was nothing but a useless creation because I didn't see the need, the essence, the office of the special prosecutor. And what's now walking into the act nankasa specific. No be catch or say na upieba, no be catch or say this is an independent body. You see, say it's a joke because there is nothing independence about the office of the special prosecutor. The reason in here, over your 1992 constitution the mother legal document about mine atam ade the prosecutorial power and prosecutorial authority of the state watam ni nyina gu ade na wachechere na ode ama the attorney general. So that is an exclusive arena, only the attorney general and or prosecute that on the behalf of government. So when all practicing there man different from the strict constitutional your friends say arrangement, you know. So the office the attorney general now finding a way of, you know, diversifying and ensuring that other institutions that any be devil with a lot of activities and directly or indirectly over most of the minor criminal cases, you know, are automatically prosecuted by the police service.
Yeah.
And now police in more prosecutorial department and as for because the attorney general no entimi go so entimi nko ha and we will be bancho but police is everywhere. So today no court about minor criminal cases in no a police and a prosecutor. And I'll come back and explain to you why I disagree with the judgment. Your friend is saying High Court in the buy, and I think he got it wrong with some of the points are not all can. It's a fact to say when it comes to prosecution, the power of we are saying so
the attorney general,
but they can delegate and ensure say other institutions will do that. Prosecution, you know, police for yebi when it comes to minor criminal cases, and I'm sure you are aware. So nobody is contesting that particular fact. But my counter's office no wasn't necessary. And then the High Court really, you know, affirmed that long-standing conviction among forward. People are not saying it's not just about prosecuting or not prosecuting, but the crux of the argument is the unusefulness of the office. But among for anything to support it. So and there's a court to say, I'm taking out prosecution there, then it comes to rationalize how unuseful the particular office has become. And you say, Office of the Special Prosecutor, cases of criminal prosecution in as for on time, don't find come Attorney General. As Attorney General, prosecutor, then they need express authorization. That is where I disagree. Yeah, because the point is that so we have the Special Prosecutor Act now. The default position, apart from investigation, they also have the power to prosecute. And that because an act in it has attained a certain constitutional legitimacy. in the face of it being an act, parliament, more yeah. So that naturally becomes the default position of the office of the special prosecutor.
Okay.
But then, over the special prosecutor act now, or say special prosecutor for case, not our prosecutor, the attorney general no, I dissatisfied and I say can file for a null prosecution. I'll be discontinue the case. So what I say, that tells you say any independent. And the special prosecutor for case not or prosecutor, the attorney general can file for null prosecution to discontinue the case. What it means is that by default, the office of the special prosecutor can prosecute unless the otherwise happens. This is the logic I want you to get.
Okay.
The framers of the law no realize we are creating this agency, arming it with a certain prosecutorial, whether absolute or semi. They have that, but until the otherwise happens, they can. So the High Court seeking to reverse that, for me that is problematic. So it should be this case. So OSP cover case. Now Attorney General MPS or prosecutor, they have that express authority to cut them. Hey, don't go for this case. You discontinue. But if nothing has happened, you allow them just like you have allowed the police. Because when the police are prosecuting criminal cases, they don't need express authorization and now written authorization from the police. It is something that has become a natural convention. Like it's an implied. There is something we call implied prosecutorial power or implied prosecutorial authority. You don't need to give it to him, but he has it unless the otherwise happen. For instance, Waba show you see there are things you do, and this our boss to tifie no say show ya wo ye me person this portion we free man until that authority comes, that is the normal thing you do. So by default, and I said the act has constitutional legitimacy by the virtue of the fact that I go through parliament, I go through the process, you have to. And again, High Court, need to me to nullify the act, and that is not what the judge did.
Okay.
And the runner, your friends OSP so say on Thursday judicial review, High Court need to me say or say act in the SS. No, so what's your rule? Na even more the actual judgment in Yamabontin there. There is no indication say High Court no can say anything wrong with the act. And our cut portions of the act. No, what he sought to do a interpretation. Or say, and I'm say constitution, a bangi all prosecutorial powers and authority the ma AG, so yes, so call using the power nubia. I was say our authority, but why I defend say, and I'm say OSP ni so. Your first constitutional legitimacy, by default, na juma say on investigating prosecutor or prosecutor say age you can rather write to them. That is why the express authorization comes in to discontinue. That is why the act says you can file for null prosecution. So I don't know if you get the argument. Yeah, so special prosecutor argument and say court no who can say render part of the act nullified. No, that is not what the court did. The court only gave a very purposive, restrictive interpretation to the constitution. Emma prosecutorial power to the AG. And now or say strictly until that is a strict interpretation of the law. But you see, you have to be very expansive in this particular regard, just to ensure flexibility and rationalization and also harmony among these institutions. And America say, you see, the special prosecutor office, are useless in a sense. Me started me catch say ya sesa prosecutorial powers ni nyina gu bag him and ya zipu na ya ma AG you cannot create any parallel institution that will compete the AG in terms of prosecutorial powers. You cannot create any parallel institution and call it your friend is saying special office or independent body. It is not independent, because independent bodies, your AG, your friends say your electoral commission, your Shraj. These are they enjoy absolute independence in the face of the constitution, because they source their authority from the constitution. We could have created a special prosecutor office by in a bid to let it share or rival the AG for prosecutorial powers. It is not possible until the constitution itself is amended to give that particular leeway. And the Abasana at the constitutional level, the AG and then the office of the special prosecutor no share that prosecutorial power and say bag ni be so na ye yibi na they mind the electoral commission they ama the office of the special prosecutor. So now they are at par, but until that is done, the office of the special prosecutor will remain in the shadow or remain under the umbrella of the AG.
Or the AG.
So the AG can order it around, can shut its operations, can maneuver and do everything. And the Obi Baba and Tunabakacha say, office in independent. I wouldn't say comedy no because there is no independence about it. You understand? Because
Attorney General bet me catch us a case we meant to us there.
Exactly.
Then where lies your?
So that is why I disagree with the court. And say the court should have realized that provision. Say Adena or no canon is already in the act. So they didn't need to emphasize it. And by default, no. Allow them and other institutions sourcing authority to prosecute from AG, you know, police for that. So the special prosecutor can equally do the same thing. You understand? And he said, AG betimi atran office aka say oh case we ya police for a prosecutor or go so there state na nkasa we interest so nti yen kwaje na yenye. Until that is done, what I say, and it's a special prosecutor also for case na oye na AG ni wo that particular way because the people part say they can be given authorization by the AG to go ahead and prosecute. You know, it means that one way or the other they have prosecutorial power because today the AG ain't me ma your first electoral commission power say uncle prosecute you. Why? Because they don't have that particular mandate. But for the fact to say the office of the special prosecutor naturally and by that constitutional legislative legitimacy no more per the act in that is their default position. They can prosecute. So if the AG will have to write to them in the absence of writing, still that natural flow must continue until the otherwise happens. You understand? So I think the ruling is very problematic, and I'm expecting say even though Makacho is the office of the special prosecutor, Makacho is useless. But this is a constitutional legal argument, and I make it. So yes, it's useless. And for me, so I've been one of the advocates. I'm office in the Yenguno, because I am for Sobia, so I can't broya besine. Now office in yes, no Nipa na Ghana for you now. What GDA what the Musa? Chef Mission, the lion of your friends, anti-corruption. I'll bet me I know Ugani free catching her. Abrane hoya hot. He left. And he came up with a lot of stuff. Now, Kisiaja Ben didn't have your friends at that particular your friends at gravitas, to stand the heat in it and so forth. And I messed up the air because nothing has happened. But the office of the special prosecutor for the past 10 years in here, I enjoy prosecutorial powers and authority. No, yeah. On far, beben court, my beben nifo. On far, akoko crank court, my akoko nifo. Obati ane say ya recovery ya kwa jisika wa ha siam so hu de agifri no how much has been your friends are collected just assumptions na manfo keka nsam sa. So for the ordinary Ghanaian people are unable to quantify the value they should place on the office of the special prosecutor, considering how much resources the state has pumped into it. And now bet you say OSP so here bulletproof car. O bet you say assassination one so na kufa do kro be my no one assassinate no.
O do kro ti fi o tinima.
O tinima ko programs anu ko na masie bi on mfa no ho. Na ono kra no bi entertain to be ka kire say who here bulletproof car because na judges class on them chroma say. So I think that it has been comedy, drama upon drama, and it's the reason why it seems to say Ghana for sorority at the office of the special prosecutor because and I think they're going to court, the Supreme Court will make pronouncement because issue already it is in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court and
I think so be the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court that and sana we echo say omuni prosecutorial powers, they need express authorization from the AG. So what if the AG give that express authorization? They don't even Makacha said that authorization is an implied authorization. The AG doesn't need to write it because per the act of the special prosecutor it's natural. That is what they do. So naturally, until otherwise happen, they are supposed to prosecute. You understand? So for that one there, but we are expecting the Supreme Court to rule on this particular matter because it is only the Supreme Court that is clothed with power and authority to declare the act was done in the excess of the Constitution. And they can shut it down, declare it null and void. Until that is done, the act still stands. But interpretation, now court judge, a tweak, but until a reverse happen, what the court has given today will continue to stand.
Yeah.
And every single prosecutorial will be electoral. Your friends said the OSP will be and Jeffrey Nisam. Now, our prosecutorial authority cries so office in useless.
Useless.
Now, I quite say Jataba yet to tune the singing a free and no. And the pastor Jata about no be a guy. I say, but we are what to cry. I'm for the chase you out because we are say what I say. So I think that we need to harmonize these institutions. I don't want to see this sort of rivalry. That's for MacArthur said there is a solution to this. If we want to do proper prosecution of criminal cases, we do not need to set up many offices. Yeah, what you need is the political will and commitment. Let us resource the AG department. How many regions na ewo kroma say now Kodua da Roma 16 6 and fast when you so about can ho there were 16 regions. Yeah, the AG can be resourced to become so robust. We can even choose to go the American way. And your friends are all various states now. Attorney General announced for some we a big crowd to abandon as a phone, just to ensure say you represent the people and then as a phone. You will be empowered to take up issues of prosecution and so forth. Because MacArthur said modern governance, you need templates where you try to baby as a kind. There is no guideline yet they bu mine. Every of mine piano has to be contextualized. You look at your priorities, you look at your objective, you look at why ankasa or domain no kwanya name air pass or a play out. Now with the design with template for a minor and do you just may copy America, may copy ube fail because the cultural underpinnings, the political understanding, level of literacy, enlightenment and as a phone are different from what they know, and so you need to appreciate your context. Now what generous know the design or template out be what minor. Copy no yard also. You're making sure say near my office of the special prosecutor President Mahama are standing in. I can say they should allow it to stand. But I think that in terms of rule, no, define the rule man because now you better with your friends. I mean, and there's almost all
kind of arts and kasa. Also is to investigate and prosecute specific cases of alleged or suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses, recover the proceeds of corruption and corruption-related offenses, and to take steps to prevent corruption.
Yes.
No, prevent corruption.
And the act now, can it means that the special prosecutor. The problem we have, the wording of our laws. I am more confused than anything because all kinds of specific cases of political corruption corruption now.
And what said to politically exposed people.
Yes. So I know the day, that is a large room. That is a very big room for the OSP to operate. Yeah. A very big room. And is this section 90? There is a particular section. Plea bargaining now, man for no. Special prosecutor act and not a timada I say. One of his core mandates is to do your friends a plea bargaining just to ensure that we recover money in as a forum. Oh yeah, I think that and I'm this time round I don't want to do name calling this because Okasa watch it. As a person. Now what can I say? Maybe I will read that. So this time round I want us to focus on the flaws. I want these structures in not quite harmonizing just to make sure say as people know they pay. Is it about prosecution or is it about having multiple offices? Just like the special prosecutor officer just been there. You consono and also so also they prosecute what I say. So I think that these are things that we need to harmonize. I am making sure say the objective is one. Go after corrupt individuals, and we will do everything humanly possible within our means as a state, just to ensure say we clip corruption and make it a high risk venture. Whoever that attempts to obey corruption, will be demotivated by the fact that the consequences are spelled out in our law, and the institutions are ready, stand armed and clock ready. Just as Donald Trump, or say the American army is clocked and ready. They are ready to push the trigger. The state must be armed, clock, and get ready to push the trigger against anybody. Or Siki say, or the minor Sika summoning as a for form. Now, yes, sir, never special prosecutor and AG and then way and then way call to her. as long as that misunderstanding and dragging on, a confronting a free day to operate, and I think that is not good for our democracy. So. Portions of the judgment I disagree. I also disagree with the special prosecutor part, or say we know, because judicial review, High Court award that particular power to do that, and I think that is what they did. They one year say one set it aside and answer one nullify portions of the act which they don't have power to do. It is only the Supreme Court, and that is not what the judge said. But the judge said special prosecutor express authorization, and some of our prosecutors I disagree. There is an implied authorization already until otherwise is stated. So I think that we need to, the Supreme Court will have to normalize these things. So going forward, all
right, and see me sure say near the hole. Yeah, law no me sure say Ivan Abubu mama said that no. Aba. Ya me say ya ka say office na ka say useless no ye dosho.
Yeah, that's na baby.
Yeah, that's na baby. Na na ma tina me do kura hu ano. Na ki say jabe.
Yeah, say. Yeah, fan say. Bon samba cross we jabe ye, we say pope wo fa say. Bon samba cross we give up ba ye no ntimi nya biem. Na pope wo fa say na benya Kodua akwaye.
Ade ya go. Bon samba.
Aso no de ya wonu tum. Bone ne ba ye ne ya wonu tum no pra.
No so wabre.
Ono pra so wabre ntimi nya ba ye bi ko anajutuo no wabre. Na pope wo fa say. Pope wo fa say na ba ye.
O ba ba ye de ya say ba yire.
Wa say.
But never there was the other said, Yammer no boafo.
And no Ocha Lumba Remes, man. But bro, everyone was on resigning Kofi, or bro.
But what